Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So, for the longest time, XRP has been touted as, being backed by gold. It's going to be backed by gold. It's going to be worth this price. It's going to be worth that price. It's going to do this, it's going to do that. A lot of this market is 100% speculation. A lot of these individuals don't know anything that is happening. And you know what? I will be the first to announce and admit that, listen, I don't even know what is going to be happening. All we can do is speculate off of information that we are given. But what I do believe is going to be happening around the current financial system is we will see an entire new payment system being ushered in that will be moving towards the gold standard. Once again, we will be on a new payment system, or in quotation marks, a network that would be sourcing liquidity from a new liquidity source, freeing up the $27 trillion Nostra Vostra accounts. That would be my speculation. And let's talk about how this could actually happen and how I do believe it is happening already, or I should say the push towards it is happening already. So first off, this is how I do believe that XRP gets the title as being, backed by gold. It goes back to March 2nd, and it goes back even beforehand as well. There's been a lot of individuals actually discussing this. Shout out to Linda P. Jones here, and shout out to XX underscore 1133 1221 underscore 11 on Twitter. But we do see this is how ISO 222 cryptos will be backed with value like gold, silver, copper, palladium, etc., and utilized in the new financial system. We do see a full-on breakdown of like Basel 3 plus 4. It's more so tier 1 asset clarity and market liquidity management. We just recently talked about this. Now, to me, none of this proves anything. I mean, this is like a fan-made almost blueprint from XX underscore 1000, etc. We've seen a lot of his blueprints in the past. I do think that it is some great insights. I think that there's a ton of information within this as well. But I don't think that this is a clear idea that these will be backed by a specific commodity. I think that it's great in regards to a speculative, way of looking at it. But I don't think that this is necessarily how things will work. You can't really put a value on any of these assets in the future anyways, because we don't exactly know where this market is actually headed. We could, take some guesses, we could speculate, but we don't exactly know what is going to 100% happen. But what we do know is this: gold. Putin has shared plans to peg the Russian, ruble to gold. However, Russian central bank refutes claim. All BRICS nations except India are significant producers of gold. Russia was banned from London Gold Exchange, LBMA, and announced plans to set up alternative exchange. They have been moving towards a new system for a while, more so the BRICS nations. We do see over here, BRICS nations planning a new global reserve currency based on basket of member currencies. This removes any individual nation from Triffin dilemma. Basket currency would be alternative to the IMF's SDR, special drawing rights currency, may be backed by assets like gold or oil. And this is where everybody does believe that XRP will be backed by gold, is if we can see XRP become an ESDR and it be backed by gold or oil or some sort of other asset. Now, I could see that being a possibility, and I do think that that could happen, but what are the chances of it? Kind of slim to none. But what I can see happening is us moving towards the gold standard yet again, because it was a very efficient payment mechanism, or I shouldn't say mechanism, but more so, payment system that we were running on. Since then, we have dropped it, going all the way back to around like the 60s, 70s. But we have been seeing a lot of alternative ways of paying within the BRICS nations, more so specifically the SWIFT sanctions really kind of streamline this process. But we do see over here from Molly Elmore 22 on Twitter: what happens if 41% of the world decides the US dollar is no longer the only global reserve currency? You see down here, the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 named the US dollar as the reserve currency of the world. This means that global trade is done utilizing USD. When a country conducts trade in a reserve currency, they have to purchase a large amount and hold it in various bank accounts, utilizing or used to pay for gold goods like oil, wheat, etc. This creates continuous demand for the dollar, which keeps its value high. Countries that export to the U.S. prefer a strong dollar because it means Americans can afford to buy their products, and the profits are high in value. but it also means that the States is in charge and can impose consequences if a country does not align with the U.S. interest. In 2014, a group of nations led by China and Russia formed an alliance to conduct trade outside of the U.S. dominated system called BRICS. Most nations within BRICS are producers of valuable commodities like gold and oil, and recently began trading with each other utilizing alternative payment currencies, not the dollar. This summer, at the annual BRICS meeting, plans for a new basket currency were announced, and this is, major countries in mine production of gold worldwide in 2021, and we do see China being a leader here. We also do see Russia. The United States is a little bit under Russia by a little over half, and then we do see some other major names. Now down here, this new currency should be similar to the IMF's SDR basket of currencies and removes any participating nation from the Triffin dilemma. Putin also alluded to plans to peg the Russian ruble to gold. This could mean that BRICS nations are headed back to assets backed by currencies. Full details have not publicly shared yet. Other nations have recently expressed interest in joining the BRICS, including Turkey, Argentina, and even Saudi Arabia. The latter is most significant as the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have had an agreement around oil and dollars since the 1970s. If Saudi Arabia were to join BRICS and sell oil to countries in a different payment currency, that would be a significant geopolitical move. What does this mean for Americans who use the dollar as our currency? It will likely make the cost of imported goods higher as less demand for the dollar will weaken its value. Alternatively, it could boost U.S. exports as products would be less expensive outside the U.S. Politically, this would also weaken the role of the U.S. military in the world, as the Bretton Woods Agreement also outlined that the U.S. would protect the global shipping routes of the supply chain. And we do see down here, it is her tweet. But yeah, I do think that this is something significant. I think that when we really kind of look at something like this, we are kind of seeing a major, push for this. In fact, going over to MidasGoldGroup.com, we do see the world reserve currency since 1450, and down here we actually do see an average. If you notice, the average currency span is 94 years. The US dollar presently has been the world's reserve currency for roughly 99 years. We are overdue for a new world reserve currency, and I do think that we will see a major shift within this, and I do think that we are soon going to see a major turning event happening very, very soon, specifically around the BRICS nations. And I do think that everybody should be paying attention to this. And you might be wondering, how does XRP play a role? And we're going to be getting to that. Going back to June 24th, we do see Russia and China are brewing up a challenge to dollar dominance by creating a new reserve currency. Since then, we have seen quite a bit of updates. Chinese president, is expected to travel to Saudi Arabia as early as this week. China has made it clear it wants to expand the BRICS bloc. Remember, Saudi Arabia is considering establishing gold refineries. Who is the biggest producer of gold? China. We actually do see over here, again, when we really kind of look at the major names here, so Russia is proposing its own international standard for precious metals. India launched an international gold exchange. Nigeria they now have a newly licensed commodity exchange, and they are trading in gold. We also do see, again, Saudi Arabia considering establishing gold refineries, and then China produces the most gold. Are you not entertained? And yes, things are getting very interesting. We actually do see over here, again, from yesterday, breaking news. Russia is proposing its own international standard for precious metals after getting banned by the London Bullion Market Association. It is happening. Things are moving very quick. And I do think that what streamlined this was SWIFT. Going back to March 4th, right? SWIFT sanctions on Russia, how it works and likely impacts, right? This was the major thing that we needed to watch for because, again, this could ultimately lead to a revolution around payment systems. More so, we look at, RippleNet, because RippleNet is a big payment system and it is a big network. But we do see up here, banning Russian banks from the financial messaging system freezes their ability to transact with the rest of the world, imposing high cost. We do see down here the fact SWIFT provides secure financial messaging. They do talk about it. SWIFT is, a network that has over 11,000 banks assigned to it. Major banks, by the way. They do handle $5 trillion in value a day as well. And, SWIFT-related sanctions were imposed on Russian banks on February 26th. We do see down here, banning a bank from SWIFT freezes at least temporarily its ability to transact with the rest of the world. And they do break down this entire thing, within the start to finish. And they do say what it means, basically breaking this down as well. But I actually have a better breakdown over here from Forbes on this. And this is the after effects of this, how cutting Russia from SWIFT basically will change the entire financial landscape. And we talked about this a little bit back in March, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think that a lot of people were actually paying attention. So let's actually look at this. So a new era of competing global payment systems. SWIFT, and they do, mention what it stands for, was initially created by a group of American and European banks in response to their need to have a single standardized communication system. Today, SWIFT connects more than 11,000 financial institutions in more than 200 different countries and territories. It is estimated that more than 40 million messages a day are sent through SWIFT, enabling the exchange of trillions of euros between companies and governments around the world. Cutting a bank from SWIFT is like cutting a person off from the internet. While monetary flows would be possible in theory, without complementary information where the money comes from, where it goes, what it is for, a bank would not be able to operate. And as we have seen with Russia this week, partially or entirely cutting a country's bank off from SWIFT has serious economic consequences. Now, when we actually look at this, SWIFT has been a global leader, but I do think that we are going to see an uprise here. And this is where XRP actually comes into play. So as we are actually seeing the BRICS nations move towards a commodity-backed payment system, they are still going to need to have a bridge currency within it. They're going to have, this sort of liquidity issue. Because again, although a gold-backed system is very efficient in the sense of being deflationary, again, it does create a lot of value being derived from it. It is still extremely hard to transact within a gold-backed system. Again, this is going all the way back to how XRP could be backed by gold. To me personally, what will happen is we will have CBDCs backed by gold issued on DLTs. For DLTs, anybody who doesn't understand what that term means, it's distributed ledger technologies. Now, when we actually look at this, going back to July 6th, the Fed conference hears, stablecoins may boost USD as a global reserve currency. For me personally, how will the U.S. continue to grow? How will the U.S. continue to, thrive as the world reserve currency? They will need to usher in technology specifically around the financial sector, the financial systems as well. If we move towards a CBDC would need to be backed by some sort of reserves. Could it be backed by the U.S. reserves? It's probably unlikely. We would need to have it backed by something that is deflationary to hold its value. This is why I do think that a gold-backed system with CBDCs is the best for the future financial system. And I do think that we are seeing that move happen already with the BRICS nations. In order for us to compete, we will most likely need to usher in a new system as well that is extremely efficient. This is also why I do think that the Fed now service, consequently with, like when we look at what is happening around a lot of these payment mechanisms, the issue with them is that they are still inefficient. They are just kind of covering up an old engine. This happens with Swift GPI as well. We've talked about this in yesterday's video. When we actually look at this though, on paper, what we would want from a system, specifically with CBDCs, is something that is deflationary, that can be transacted on a day-to-day basis in an instant settlement mechanism. The FedNow service is in an instant settlement mechanism, but it's not going to achieve instant settlement without something like XRP. And you might be wondering, well, why do we need XRP? The reason why XRP comes into play is because it's patent technology around on-demand liquidity, providing instant settlement by sourcing liquidity on demand. Comparing that to Nostra Vostra accounts, which is $27 trillion, it is completely revolutionary to a payment mechanism and network. This is why SWIFT is extremely inefficient. I do think that this is also why we will see a lot more banks actually pulling out of SWIFT, which we've already seen this year alone. Now, you might be wondering, well, why do you think that a digital dollar is on the rise? Because we've been hearing talks about it for a very long time, and Jerome Powell just recently actually said that a CBDC is on its way. It is being built. They are planning around it. They are running tests. They are trying to get this perfect. And we actually do see here from June 22nd, digital dollar would secure greenback as global reserve currency. The U.S. is not going to lose the global reserve currency standard, easily. They're going to fight for this. They're going to have to streamline and adopt crypto, networks. And the reason why I do think that crypto networks are key, it's not just any crypto networks, by the way. It's specific DLTs that offer the efficiencies that are far greater to ignore comparing it to the legacy systems. This is why we talk about XRP. This is why we talk about RippleNet. RippleNet with XRP, combining that power is extremely efficient. We compare it to things happening right now within the payment landscape. You compare the efficiencies, and it's night and day. You are saving 30 to 60% on every single transaction. You are seeing instant settlement, full transparency. This is revolutionary technology. This is how I do think that XRP will play the pivotal role in a gold-backed system. XRP does not need to be backed by gold. Could it trade in a similar gold fashion? Sure, 100%. And if we could see the possibility, when we look at like an ESDR rating for XRP or a title for XRP, that's how I do think that XRP could possibly be backed by gold, by having that ESDR backed by gold in a gold-backed system, which could very well be what we are moving towards. And I do think that this is also why I try to tell everyone, like, we don't know exactly what's going to be happening with this. We could speculate all day long, but at the end of the day, like, why would XRP ever be backed by gold? I don't even think, Hammertoe understands this weird speculative theory, which, by the way, Matt Hamilton is the one who said that XRP could hit $100. I actually do think that XRP could very well be worth $100 plus if we do see it be utilized as a global bridge currency, and we do see XRP will be backed by gold and be worth X amount. Maybe someone can explain this to me, because I don't see why XRP needs to be backed by anything, because it doesn't. It is a global. When we look at XRP's main purpose, it is a global bridge currency. That's how we would look at it. Now, to me personally, when we look at what is happening around the world, I could expect that we will see a new financial system being ushered in within the next roughly like 3 to 5 years. Maybe sooner, maybe a little bit longer, but by 2030, I do expect this entire crypto market to be completely different. DLTs will play the pivotal role, specifically DLTs that offer sustainability and efficiencies that are much greater than what we are running on right now within the legacy systems. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.